So have you ever thought about running on a track but felt intimidated or unsure about how to start? Maybe you've seen elite athletes flying around the lanes and figured that that wasn't for you. Well, today I'm going to tell you that yes, you absolutely can run on a track. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned runner, training on a track has some serious benefits, so we're going to break it down right now. Running on a track offers a controlled, consistent surface with no stoplights or uneven sidewalks, no cars cutting you off. It's just you, your legs, and how you're going and how fast you're running. Plus, tracks are open to the public more often than you might think. So in my area, there's a great track just 4 miles from my house that's usually very quiet in the early morning. It's perfect for focused training. Beyond that, track running is an excellent way to measure progress. Every lap is a predictable distance, so it makes it easier to track improvements in pace and endurance over time. So whether you're training for a race or just looking to mix up your routine a little bit, the track can be a great addition to your running plan. One key thing to understand about track running is how the lanes work. So lane 1, the innermost lane, is exactly 400 meters, which is just under a quarter mile. Each outer lane is slightly longer as you go out, which matters if you're tracking distance without a GPS watch. That's why if you're manually logging your workouts, it's important to stick to the same lane for consistency. Running in different lanes changes the exact distance you're covering. Lane 1 is 400 meters, but if you're in lane 3, for example, you're actually running about 415 meters per lap. That might not seem like much, but over the course of a workout, those extra meters add up and can make it seem like you're running slower or covering less distance than you actually are if you're switching things up. So by always using the same lane, you eliminate that variable and can get an accurate picture of your progress. If you're tracking your lap splits over time, you'll know that any improvements in speed or endurance aren't just from running or shorter distance, they're real gains. You'll also be able to compare your workouts more effectively. You'll be able to see your trends in your pacing and fitness levels. For example, let's say you start doing 400-meter repeats in lane 1 and your average lap time is 1:50. A few weeks later, you check your log and see that you're consistently hitting 1:45. That's a clear sign that you're getting faster. But if you were switching between lane 1 and lane 4 without realizing the difference, you might think your pace was fluctuating for no reason, when in reality, you were running different distances each time. The track is one of the best places to measure your progress precisely. So if you want to get the most out of your workouts, pick a lane, stick with it, and watch how your training evolves over time. If you're using a GPS watch, you don't have to worry about this as much since it will track your distance regardless of the lane that you're in. But if you want to go old school and manually track your workouts, consistency is key. This approach also helps if something happens and your watch is dead, or you happen upon a track on vacation, say, and you want to knock out a workout on the fly, provided you have your running gear, of course. So track etiquette is something a lot of people overlook, but knowing the rules can make the experience a better experience for everyone. So lane 1 is typically reserved for speed work. If you're doing fast intervals, you can use it, but if you're jogging or walking, it's best to stick to the outer lanes. Track running is also done counterclockwise by default, unless there's a specific reason to go the other way, like balancing wear on your legs, but for most of us, that isn't an issue because we're only going to the track like once a week or even with longer time in between. If you ever hear someone yell track or lane behind you, they're not just being rude, they're not being rude at all actually, they're just letting you know that they're passing. And if you can safely move over, it's courteous to do so. Another thing to keep in mind is awareness. So if you wear headphones, I actually recommend the open ear ones so that you can still hear what's happening around you no matter where you're running. And if you're moving between lanes, say you're warming up on an outer lane before switching to lane 1 for intervals, always look behind you first to avoid a collision. If you're new to the track, here is a simple workout to get you started. So you're going to begin with a 1-ish mile warm-up. So you're going to run at an easy, relaxed pace for 4 laps around the track. then move into the main workout, which is 400-meter intervals, which means running 1 lap at a faster pace, followed by 1 lap of easy recovery. And you're going to repeat that sequence 4 times, which will be 2 miles-ish. So then you're going to finish with a cool down of 4 laps. So it's 4-ish miles. So this workout introduces you to speed work without the distraction of traffic or terrain changes. It also allows you to focus purely on your effort and form, which can make a big difference in your overall running performance. Keep in mind, though, that if there are others on the track, you will want to use an outer lane, since in reality, only 4 laps would be considered fast. You can use your watch if you want exact 400 meters, even if you're in another lane. But if you can do it in lane 1, if like no one else is there, then you can do it without even looking at your watch. You can really do that in any lane, but the further you are from lane 1, the more distance you are covering, which is fine. Just be aware that you're doing more than the 400 meters. All right, so I'm gonna vent a little bit here, because when you run on a track regularly, you start noticing things that can drive you a little crazy, and you don't wanna be that person. So there's this guy in particular on the track that I go to, and I also meet my clients at this track. And I have no issue with people walking on the track at all. People do it all the time. But this guy will come, even if I already have a client there and is already using lane 1, doing some fast workouts. He doesn't care. He always walks in lane 1, and he bounces a ball as he's going around the track, going very, very slowly. Usually it's this guy and then me and my client. So I don't understand why he will actually go in lane 1, even though he knows that someone else is using it. I don't know if it's like a power trip. I don't know. But that's insane. I actually want to send a note to the people who run that track. I think it's a school. To post some etiquette rules, because that is very frustrating. Another situation that gets me is, so a lot of times you're going to have a track and you're going to have a practice field in the middle of the track. And there was one time where I was doing some intervals, running really, really fast on the track. I was the only one there, so I was doing track 1. And the team comes out and they very slowly meander across the track to get to the practice field, to the point that I had to stop my workout. I had to stop short because somebody was strolling across, just ignoring me completely. But I had the impression, of course, that he knew I was there. And that was very annoying. Now, I do try to give grace, because I'm sure there are things that I do that drive other runners nuts as well. But yeah, when people are passively aggressively making me stop because they're getting to the middle of the thing, that's a big no-no. At the end of the day, the track is an amazing tool for any runner. It's a controlled, repeatable environment that helps improve speed, stamina, and consistency. And best of all, it's accessible to anyone. You do not have to be an elite athlete to benefit from track running. It is a great way to push yourself in a safe setting and track your progress over time. So if you've never trained on a track before, I encourage you to give it a shot. You might be surprised at how much you actually enjoy it. I'll link you to some resources in the show notes that might be helpful to you. And also you can sign up for my once a month newsletter, where I share all the things that I've been putting out there on my different platforms, and also other resources. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the run.